Welcome to the World of Sports podcast. I'm your boy John, along with Braxton. We got a lot to get into today, but we're gonna start with Caitlin Clark and the WNBA. Over the past month or so that the WNBA has, the season has begun, Caitlin Clark has been victim to some pretty physical play. A lot of people are saying that these girls in the WNBA are hating on her, and the internet kind of really blew up over the weekend after the Kennedy Carter hip check to her. And now people are saying that these girls in the WNBA need to be mindful of what they're doing because Caitlin Clark is the cash cow, and they're saying like these girls are hating on her. So I just want to know from your perspective, do you feel like Caitlin Clark has been treated unfairly by players and referees in the WNBA?
So for me personally, I don't think she's been treated unfairly, but I do think that there is a certain level of animosity that I feel like the players are showing against her. Like they've heard all the chatter about what she was expected to be, what she was going to be, transcendent star. And from what we've seen in college, I mean, we all expected that. But I think, it's more like they've taken the welcome to the league to a new height is what I would say. Like they are making sure that she knows, like, we're gonna be physical, ain't nothing gonna be given to you. To a certain degree, I do feel like it's being a little overplayed, but some of it, I mean, it is true. I feel like it's more of an onus on her teammates to kind of step up and be like, yo, we're not going to allow you to, disrespect our star player like this. I mean, she's trying to get into the league and stuff like that. But I think it's something that she has to overcome. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I definitely feel like I don't feel like they are being hate like they hate her like everybody's trying to make it out to see like make it out to be, but I do feel like they're trying to like show her like it ain't gonna be as easy as you thought it was. Like you're not about to come in here and just you know um shoot all these threes and be spectacular. But I do feel like I'm not gonna say everybody hates her, but I feel like the play that Kennedy Carter made on her, that I feel like that was made out of pure hate, just because we seen what happened beforehand where Indiana went down, got a bucket, and Caitlin's all in all in Kennedy's face, and then right after the possession, right after that's when the hip check comes. So, I do feel like that was kind of fueled with a little bit of hey, they say that it was competitiveness, but I don't know. But I do feel like you said, she's gonna have to adjust. Like it's not gonna be easy. This is the league. Of course, it's gonna be more physical. They're not just gonna let you come in here and just think you about to just shoot all these threes. But I do also agree with like Matt Barnes saying like, where's your teammates? It's the ultimate. Basketball is the ultimate team game. So like, you're supposed to be there for your teammates, especially knowing the type of money she's bringing in for the sport, the type of money she's bringing in for the team, and just how she's gonna grow the game for y'all. So like, why y'all not sticking up for her when these girls are trying to teach her a lesson? It's all about being there for your teammates. So I do agree with that. Like her teammates have to show up and show out for her.
Yeah, I think like you said, I 100% agree with you on that play being dirty.
Oh,
It was a little bit extra. One thing I did not like was it seemed like, after the play, Angel was kind of
mhm.
I guess pumping her up for doing that. Like those type of things, you don't want to pump that up no matter how it looks. Like, I mean, you could say you just cheering on your teammate, but it looks a certain way. And I'm we got to start holding Angel accountable for these type of things too. Like, I mean, she wasn't able to answer questions after the game. We don't know why, but she did have a press conference, and she, recently just talked about how it's other players that is bringing popularity to the game, not just Caitlin Clark. And I feel like I agree with her on that statement. But what is your stance on that?
Um, yeah, I agree with that too because I feel like a lot of the headlines that are driven by the national media is making it seem like it's all Caitlin Clark's doing. You know what I'm saying? But I do agree with Angel. Like it's more than just Caitlin Clark. Um, but I also feel like the eyes are gonna be on her. Like Angel, yeah, she did a lot growing the game by winning the national championship at LSU, and like being growing her personal brand. But like people don't gravitate towards her game, you know what I'm saying? Because her game is not exciting. She's really just a person who grabs boards and stays around the rim. Versus as the day and age that we live in, It's the Steph Curry age. People want to see you shoot threes. So Caitlin Clark's game is exciting because she can shoot threes off the dribble and she can shoot from the parking lot. You know what I'm saying? So that's I feel like yeah, Angel did a lot growing the game. Like people like Angel. Like I'm one of the reasons why I'm watching the WNBA now is because of Angel Reese. Like because I want to see her, what she does in the professional league. But like it's also people are also growing the game because of Caitlin Clark. You know what I'm saying? Like two things can be true. They
Mhm.
can be going for Caitlin Clark, but they can also be going for Angel Reese too. So I kind of get where she's coming from with that.
Yeah, and I feel like with the WNBA, you kind of like all the fans who are saying, they're tired of the Caitlin Clark narratives, or they're tired of people treating her a certain way or playing extra physical and saying it's bad for the league. I feel like at a certain point you have to pick your struggle. Like if we all think about it, we're all talking about the WNBA for a time. And it's very popular. Everyone's having conversations about it, and I think that's has a lot to do with the competitive nature of people wanting to stop her. And so at a certain point, if they decide, hey, you know what, we're gonna go easy on Caitlin Clark, well, then maybe you don't get these marquee matchups of players not liking each other and things that's what really grows the game. If you look at, back in the day, taking it even back to, the Michael Jordan era and the Bad Boy Pistons, like just seeing those two teams going at it, getting physical, those are the type of things that elevate your league. So you kind of have to play both sides with it. I'm not saying you let it go dirty like what Kennedy Carter did, but some of that stuff you have to allow. And I told you and Eddie, it if you're gonna be king or queen in this situation, you have to go through some of these things. These are things that make you better, and she's gonna have to learn to fight back, play through it. This is what comes with it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I feel like she's starting to understand that because she said when they asked about it in post game, like how does she feel, and she said she just at the point to where like you just gotta deal with it and don't retaliate. It's gonna come with the game. It's just all about how she's adjusted. She's adjusting, and she hasn't been having the best WNBA the best season so far in terms of numbers wise, but people are gonna continue to watch because I feel like she's gonna put the work in to show that that ain't gonna last forever. I'm a fan of her, but I'm also a fan of Angel Reese too. And I hate seeing the media try to tear them apart and kind of make it a race thing when they should be celebrating two women that are competing at the highest level.
yeah. I think uh, Pat McAfee was out of line for his what he said, calling her a white. You know
That was
what? Uh,
I mean,
I think that
I kind of see it from both ways though, cause like I watch Pat McAfee a lot. I kind of see it as people still talk about that like in everyday life, bro. Like everybody, people gonna say that about women. I'm not saying it's right, but that's the way people talk. But like, so I don't think he meant any harm by it because Caitlin Clark's been on this show before, so I don't think like he meant any harm by it. But it was definitely not the right choice of words to say on national television, knowing that you got that many eyes on you for sure.
yeah, like my gripe with it was not the actual B word part. That I mean that like I get
Yeah,
different people have different feelings on that word, and obviously in our culture it's been desensitized a lot.
yeah.
But I mean just bringing the race card into it anyway. Let's not make it a race thing. Let's just make it
Oh,
a
but
player thing.
yeah, what he said about is one white B word. Yeah, I didn't kind of
Yeah,
agree with that because see nah, because I that whole little sec because I watched his show yesterday and that whole little section where he did a PowerPoint about pointing out Angel like showing how Caitlin Clark has driven the sport and then he's talking about there's only one white girl. Yeah, now that was out of line. Like he
yeah.
apologized for that, but like
Cause
I
it's not even just one white girl. I mean, Sabrina Ionescu's been hooping too. Like, I mean, it's a lot of white girls that's been hooping. So I mean, you can't just make it all about what's one white girl versus all these other black girls or whatever. Like, that's just not the case. Like,
one before we move on, I want to ask you about this because I was watching Stephen A. Smith podcast last night because I was interested to see what he had to say about Monica McNutt. But in the same breath of him talking about Monica McNutt, he said um a reason why women's like the WNBA talk hasn't been like a lead off for his show in the past is because the people don't gravitate towards it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why he said he never really talked about like he said in the past he talked about like if people want women to talk about women's sports like the women's game is gonna have to grow and he talked about like how women don't play a part in helping women's basketball grow. Do you feel the same way? Like, do you feel like that is an issue?
I feel like that is most of the issue why the WNBA has struggled for the years that it has. You look at the NBA, that's men supporting men. Men go pay the tickets, men go see the games, men go do all that. Women, I hate to take it here, but women will complain about the amount of pay, the amount of you know, people supporting the league and stuff, and they won't go to buy a ticket. Like they'll support from the outside, but nobody's going to go see these games. And it's mostly men watching the WNBA. I mean, it's if you actually do the numbers, you'll see it's more men that watch the WNBA than women. So I feel like it is a case of women not supporting the league as much, and I think we're seeing that on the court. Like you do see this person who's gonna build up the league, and it's other women who like, nah, before she do that, we gonna tear her down, make sure she know what it is, and that's the situation. So I 100% agree with that perspective. What about you?
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that because he was like kind of saying like the men's have their sports, like they gonna support their sports, the basketball, the football, they have their sports, but like you can't count on the men to support their sports and support y'all sports, and then gripe about why y'all sport ain't where it's at when y'all ain't putting in the proper work to make sure y'all sport is where it's at versus what the men are doing. You know what I'm saying? So but I feel like in society as a whole, like women are just not like, I don't want to say they not intertwined in sports as much as men, but like I don't feel like a lot of women gravitate towards the women's game of basketball like men gravitate towards men's basketball, and I don't know what's the reason behind that. Like how we can make it better, like get more women involved. I don't know.
Well, I I think if there is one thing I would say is uh the women who are in the WNBA now are full of personality, and I think that could be a good thing that comes for WNBA. Like we see Angel Reese, she's not shy about being a fashion girl. She said she giving the girls what the girls need. You know what I'm saying? As far as fashion, and like things that women would gravitate to. Like they may not always care about the game, but they may care about the people who are playing. And so Angel Reese, is something that could bring that factor into WNBA. So like players like that, people being more expressive, and this, like we say, people being more expressive, having more strong opinions. This is all good for the league, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I agree because like I'm just at this like you see a lot of these women starting to get signature shoes, and I think that can help grow the game a lot. Just these girls being able to have a basketball shoe that they can relate to, that they can feel like, oh, I'll put these on because these women in the WNBA wear these, so I feel comfortable wearing these versus having to go out and buy some KDs or some LeBrons, that men made. I feel like they feel much more secure having a women's shoe, and that could help grow the game a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. My last thought on this: Caitlin Clark's team, the Fever, they've only won 2 games thus far. The best way to shut people up is to win, and I'm sure a lot of that stuff, that extracurricular stuff, once she proved to people,
Mhm.
like Kennedy Carter saying, all she does is shoot. Well, I mean, she's not even shooting good right now. So like, just worry about the game. It's gonna be physical, but fight through that. And we're all rooting for Caitlin Clark. I feel. I mean, I don't think nobody's really out here to hate on her. It's just growing pains that come with being number one that she has to overcome. But
Trust me, once she start winning, she gonna be a-okay for sure,
yeah,
for sure.
but moving on to the next topic. So our boy Justin Jefferson finally got that big payday that we've been waiting on. Been one of the top receivers in the league for the past. I mean, ever since he's been in the league, dang near. So, what did you think about that, and how do you think it's going to affect the wide receiver market moving forward?
Um, I feel like that move was the right move for him. Not only him, because he took care of his family. Congratulations to my boy Justin Jefferson. But that was also a good move for the Vikings. Just understanding the circumstances they're in with a rookie quarterback. It's important that he has that security blanket, that number one wide receiver that's gonna help him get it done on the field, and just have somebody that's gonna be able to um be there for him when times get rough. Justin Jefferson is the guy, the perfect guy for JJ McCarthy because he's gonna get open at all times, even when he's double covered. All you gotta do is throw that thing up, and Jetta's gonna get that thing. So I think it was the right move on both parts. In terms of how it affects the wide receiver market, um, I don't think anybody should be able, other than maybe Tyreek Hill, should be able to get the type of money that Justin Jefferson is getting, because I feel like he's 1A, 1B to Tyreek Hill maybe right now. So I think that's the he said the president so far. CD Lamb is looking for a new deal. I don't think that he deserves Justin Jefferson's money, but I feel like he's right under Justin Jefferson for sure. So I think that it doesn't really affect the wide receiver market too much because Jess is the top of the line receiver. So I mean he's gonna get what he deserves. But other than that, I mean, just looking at this deal, man, 110 guaranteed, that's crazy. And then you're getting 80, I think he's getting 87 mil at signing. I mean, man, who would have thought when I was seeing this dude in real been 3, 4 years ago, he was $100 million receiver in a couple years. That's crazy. But yeah, for sure. I'm happy for him, proud of him too. Yeah.
Yeah. As I told y'all earlier today, he was super excited about it, making videos about it. I mean,
That's
I would be
crazy.
making videos if I was making that kind of money too. So I totally understand. But I'm like you said, I'm happy for him. And I mean, to me, he the best receiver in the league, in my opinion. It's 1A, yeah, 1A, I would say, because I like Jamar too. But I mean, Tyreek is up there too. So, I would put him up there for sure. Like, if you told me he's your best receiver, I would not fight you on it. But I don't think anybody else should be getting more money than that. If we're looking at age and production, last year he did have, an injury or two, and,
He still
kind
has
of
a lot
hampered
of
him a little bit. But if you look at the years that he's been healthy, the production that we've seen, I mean, it's something that I'm not gonna say we never seen before, but it's remarkable for sure.
yeah.
And I think, like you said, CD Lamb, he does want a deal, but I think it should be a little bit under that. Not too far under that, but like definitely under that, because I mean we seen just in that last game against the Packers, I mean, the connection between him and Dak, I mean, it's something to put in question. You guys go down, the Cowboys go down a big amount, and the connection was clearly not there. So, I mean, you kind of just have to weigh it out. And I think the connection is a big part in why Justin Jefferson got the deal he got. You want to tie up a wide receiver with a new upcoming quarterback, and while that quarterback is on his rookie deal. So this was the best time to pay him, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's why I said this. I feel like it was the right move for the Vikings. But the CD part, the CD deal will be interesting because it's not just that fact. Like Minnesota was just trying to sign Jettas. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Excuse me. But um, CD, like the Cowboys got to sign CD. They got to sign Dak. They got to sign Micah. So that's gonna be interesting to see what they do
Yeah.
with that for sure. I don't.
It's funny. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Now I was just gonna say I don't know how that's gonna work out for CD because I feel like if I had to guess right now, I feel like Dak would probably take the least amount of money just because I say that because he's been talking and he's been saying he don't do it for the money. He's been in the media. He's been saying you don't do it for the money. Well, if you don't do it for the money, then you the leader of the team. You should have no problem taking less money when you know that the best player on the team, Michael Parsons, he's gonna have to be paid what he deserves. And then if you were the quarterback, by all means, I want to keep my number one receiver here. You know what I'm saying? So I want to take. I mean, I'm gonna make sure he get his money too. So if I was Dak, I would probably take the less amount of money, especially if I'm coming out here and I'm telling y'all, I never did it for the money, this, that, and the third. Well, I have no problem taking less money if I'm Dak.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, they kind of put themselves in a bad situation by having all of these deals like right at one time that they gotta figure out. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if somebody gets the bad end of the stick in this situation, because, like you said, Dak probably will have to take the less amount of money if he wants to keep this thing going.
Yeah, I feel like the Cowboys should have got the Dak deal done um a little earlier. They should have got Dak out the way a little earlier, just so they don't have to deal with all this on the play. And I think that knowing that they gotta sign Dak, Dak, CD, and Micah played a big part in why they didn't make any big, splashes in free agency this
But
offseason at
I
running
wanna
back.
I wanna like ask this question though. I mean, we just assuming that the Cowboys want to keep CD Lamb.
Mhm.
Do we think that this is the best person that you can combine with Dak Prescott to maybe take you on a deep playoff run? Like at a certain point, I mean, I don't know if there's really anybody else available. I mean, we do know T. Higgins is in a situation where like we don't know if he's gonna get paid because we assume that Jamar Chase is gonna be the one to get paid. So like in this situation, like, do we think that CD Lamb is the guy to be paired with Dak Prescott?
Um, Yeah, I think so. I feel like CD is a true number one just off of the work he put in last season and the numbers prove, that he's a number one. The chemistry between him and Dak was actually pretty good in the regular season. I don't know what happened between that last game in the regular season and then the first game of the playoffs against the Packers. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened in the week of practice, but like the connection was just off. I do feel like I do feel like that he's the right guy, but I also feel like the Cowboys haven't helped him and Dak in a way that they can be successful in the postseason. If you think about it, when it came time for the postseason, it was easy for the Packers to play the Cowboys because all they had to key in was on CeeDee Lamb. The Cowboys brought in Brandon Cooks as a second option, but Brandon Cooks didn't really show up in that playoff game. And then it's also about thing like this. Do you feel like Dak Prescott can get it done in the playoffs? Because Dak Prescott, he's going to give you a regular season where he's, looking like an MVP type quarterback. But then when it get to the playoffs, it's all between here. And that is kind of interesting because Dallas is ready to renew his contract, or he's ready to get a new contract from Dallas. And Dallas can't really afford to move on from him. So, because Dak is a good quarterback, and if you move on from quarterbacks are hard to come by in this league, so it's no guarantee that you're going to find another quarterback that's better than Dak Prescott in this league. So it's kind of like you're stuck with him in a way if you're Dallas.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
necessarily feel like it's on. I don't necessarily feel like it's a bad connection. I feel like it's more Dak than it is CD that the reason
Mhm.
why it don't work because Dak just melts in the playoffs. I don't know why. I think it's all between here though.
Yeah. I mean, it's gotten to a point, and I know that might be why they're hesitant. It's just gotten to a point where, every year it's like, okay, we expect this, we expect that, and it's kind of just the same result. And I think, I mean, I, correct me if I'm wrong, are all these contracts like they have to be figured out this year, or could they let them play for this year, this season, and then figure out after next season?
I know, I know for sure Dak has to have his figured out. Um, I want to say because CD Lamb ain't been showing. I don't know. I want to say CD because when CD went in the draft, was he in the same draft as Jettis, or was he in Jamar Chase's draft?
I think he was. I think he was in the same draft as Justin Jefferson.
Because Justin Jefferson and them they had the COVID draft, but I
Yeah.
but I would think I remember CD. Let me see. I'm about to research it, but
You see.
go ahead and finish your point. I'm gonna research.
Yeah, because I mean, it may make sense. It may make sense because we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We might need to see another season of these guys trying to prove it. You know what I'm saying? Like if some of their deals are at the end of the season, we may need to see another season of them saying, "Hey, you know what? If I don't get it from the Cowboys, I'm going to get it from somebody." And you may lose them. That may be the risk you take, but I think you were going to lose them anyway if you weren't going to pay them. So I think just maybe one more season, keep it how it is, and figure it out like that.
CD is in the last. Yeah, he's in the last year of his contract because they picked up
Okay.
the 5th year option. They picked up his 5th year option, so this is his last year.
Mhm. Yeah. You just got to take a risk. I mean, if you're gonna go ahead and pay them, if you feel like they're gonna give you the production and get you where you need to go ahead and pay them. But I ain't gonna lie. I'm a little hesitant because I think you're paying to keep stagnant. I think you're gonna be in the same situation regardless. Because you look at your division. I mean, in my opinion, the Eagles is showing they the top dogs, and you bring back this same stuff. I don't know if it's gonna be enough to handle them. So, mm.
Yeah,
And
but
then the red, not the Redskins, excuse me, the Commanders. You know they got Jaden Daniels. You never know where they're gonna be at. So
true. But like,
it's
how much better do you expect the Cowboys to get? That's the thing. Like, can they get any better than what they already are?
I don't know, bro. See, this is where we get start having conversations about Jerry Jones because like what have they been doing over the past I don't even know how long at this point. So I mean, hey, I mean we just have to see, bro. We just gonna have to see.
Yeah.
But you got anything else on this topic?
Nah, I think that's it for me on
Uh,
that.
I mean, I'm tired of talking about the Cowboys
Oh
anyway.
yeah,
So
yeah. I was about to give them a little too much time anyway.
yeah. So we'll be right back. When we come back, we're gonna talk about the NBA Finals. We finally have the matchup that we're gonna see. So y'all stick around. We'll be right back. All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Welcome to the World of Sports podcast. So as you know, the NBA Finals is set to start, and we finally have a matchup. So it's gonna be the Dallas Mavericks versus the Boston Celtics. The Dallas Mavericks, they finished their series against the Minnesota Timberwolves in a gentleman's sweep, 4-1, and the Boston Celtics went on to sweep the Indiana Pacers. From what you've seen in the conference finals and everything that has led up to this exact moment, who do you think has the edge in this finals?
Um, I'm gonna go with. Huh, I don't know because I feel like if it comes down, this 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 series is really tricky. I feel like this series has the potential to go 7 games because I feel like Boston has the better starting five, but if we get to down to the nitty gritty where we got to count on the bench, I feel like um that's where it can come into play for Dallas. I also feel like Dallas has the advantage when it comes to closing the game with Luka and Kyrie. I mean, I don't know no matter who you put on those two guys, they're gonna get to their spot and they're gonna get the shot they want, and that's just what they are. They're natural born closers. So I feel like they have the edge when it comes to that. Um, but I don't know. It's gonna be real interesting. I'm real excited to see what happens in this matchup because the Mavs, we expected the Celtics to be here. Like we said in the beginning, if the Celtics didn't come to the NBA Finals, it would be a letdown. So we expected them to be here. The Mavs are kind of surprised because they've been getting hot at the right time and they've starting to find a groove as a team and learn how to play together. And then when you just add the closing abilities of Kyrie and Luka, that just makes them so dangerous. So I don't really know who has the advantage in this series as a whole. That's why I'm real excited to see um this series starting on Thursday.
Personally, I think that the Mavericks have the edge. I think when we look at the games, they they seem to be the closers and they can finish games in a way that I think people or the players on the Celtics just don't have the capability of doing. I mean, y'all know my gripes, Jason Tatum. I mean, when it comes down to certain moments, it looks like I won't say he defers. That's one thing I will give him credit. He will take the tough shots that those number one tier guys have to take, but he doesn't make a lot of them, in my opinion. And sometimes you'll have to see Jalen Brown stepping up, doing a little bit more. I mean, he was the conference finals MVP for a reason, and so in moments like this, if you tell me that Jason Tatum is going to be that guy to put things away when they need to be put away, the Celtics should win this series in 6 games, in my opinion. But if you give me Jason Tatum from last series, who maybe missing a lot of shots coming down the stretch. I mean, he may make a shot or two, but if he's playing like that, I think the Mavericks win this in 7 games. But like I said, if Jason Tatum comes the way he needs to prepare and play, they should win it. I think in 6 games. I think I'm good on saying that.
I also feel like the health of Porzingis plays a huge role in that too, because I
Yeah.
feel like if they have Porzingis, they have a real shot at winning. I feel like if Porzingis, he's expected to play, but like if he's not 100%, I don't feel like they have a chance to win this series at all. Just because of the lob threat that comes with Gafford and Lively. Like if Porzingis isn't there, who you gonna have to guard the rim? Al Horford old as dirt, so I mean he ain't gonna be able to hang with them young bucks. So I
Mm.
feel like Porzingis is key in trying to stop the lob threat ability of Dallas for sure.
Yeah. And then also I think, we got to talk about the other storylines behind this. Kyrie coming back to the Celtics to play them, to possibly keep them from a championship. Like I love those odds with Kyrie, playing against his former team because we know all the issues that have happened between those two entities, Kyrie and the Celtics, and them booing him every time he comes there and heckling him from the stands. Like I think all that, you know, you reap what you sow. And y'all did all this while he was playing on other teams. And now, it's gonna come back to bite you, I feel like. And I think he's gonna take it personal. Porzingis is playing against the Mavs, but there wasn't as much bad blood as there is with this Celtic situation. I think Luca, and him and Kyrie being tight like this, I think he's gonna want to help Kyrie win this even more.
Yeah. Um, which duo, Jalen Brown or Jason Tatum or Luka Doncic and Kyrie? Which duo you feel has the advantage in this series?
Uh I think I'm going with the Mavericks, just because I don't think anybody can stop Luca. Whenever he has bad games, it's mostly on him. It's never really on just like the defense finding a way to stop him. And then Kyrie, I mean, it's gonna be interesting because I think Kyrie could have some struggles with Drew Holiday. Like he could make it difficult because I've seen, many times Kyrie starting off late. I think if he starts off late trying to, second half, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work against his team because Drew Holiday, he's gonna have a lot of motivation to try to stop Kyrie, and I think he's better suited than maybe Anthony Edwards was. So I think if Drew Holiday is really giving Kyrie problems, then I could see Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown having a good series as well.
Yeah, I like Kyrie and Luca too, just because like you said, I don't feel like there's not one person. I don't feel like there's one person in this league that can stop Luka Doncic from getting a bucket whenever he wants to. And Kyrie, we know he knows how to turn it on at any given time. And I feel like he can get a bucket on anybody in this league when he wants to. Like you said, I feel like the Drew Holiday matchup could play a factor. Like Drew could slow him down a little bit, but there's no stopping Kyrie, when he wants to get somewhere. And I just think about the closing ability between the two, and then also on Boston side, like, do we know who's gonna show up? Because there has been times when you look back at the 2022 finals, Jalen Brown didn't show up in the finals for the Boston against the Warriors, and then there's times when Tatum don't show up. So it's like I could count on Kyrie and Luca showing up when I need them to show up. Can I count on Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown to show up when I need them to show up? And that's kind of like why they haven't gotten over the hump yet. So it's kind of gonna be like, can they get over the hump against two of the best closers in the game? That's gonna be a real good, interesting matchup.
Yeah, I think for me the X factor in this series is going to be PJ Washington. If he can shoot how he did in that series against the OKC Thunder, I think that puts that gives the Mavericks a really good chance to win this series. I mean, any one of those players on the Mavericks get hot at any moment. I mean, we seen Hardy kind of going off at the end of that game four game. Like if he can have some of them games that he was having, like those things, though, it's gonna be the others. It's not gonna be Kyrie and Luca. We know what they're gonna give us, but those other players, that's gonna be the difference in the series.
100% agree. I was just gonna say that the role players are gonna be the difference, especially for Dallas, because when they're clicking and when they're hitting shots, Dallas is very, very tough to beat. But when they're not, it's pretty easy to beat them because it's just a two-man game. If Dallas can get the kind of production that they've been getting out of their role players like Derrick Jones Jr., Lively, Gafford, like if everybody plays their role like they've been playing, Dallas has a real good chance to win this series.
Yeah.
Um, Can I get a finals prediction out of you?
Uh, I say, hmm, I'm gonna go Mavs in six. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not
Mm.
gonna lie. I think the Mavericks are playing some of their best basketball, and they had a week off, so Luca could kind of heal up from some of them injuries that he been having and walking all crazy and stuff. I think I got the Mavericks in six just because I got no faith in the Celtics. I'm gonna be for real, and I don't like the Celtics, and I mean, I don't got no faith in them. So
Yeah. Um, I'm gonna go Mavs in 7. I feel like the Celtics ain't gonna go down because we seen what they did. They're gonna put up a good fight. They came back from through what it was 3-0 last year and
yeah,
lost in game 7. So I feel like they're gonna put up a good fight. It ain't gonna be a cakewalk for Luca. But I feel like even though the game 7 is on the road for the Mavericks, if anybody can get it done, Luka Doncic has proven that he can get it done on the road. And he's gonna talk that smack to your crowd. He not worrying about none of that. He's a cold-blooded killer, bro. That's what I love about him, bro. He could go in an arena and just shut it down in the opposing team's arena. So I'm gonna go with Mavs in 7 for sure.
yeah. Okay. Well, hey, we're gonna have all the results when we come back from the next podcast that we have. But it's gonna be interesting to
We ought
see
to be
which one of
about
us.
next podcast. We ought to be about 2, 3 games in the series. So we're gonna revisit.
Yeah,
We're gonna see how we came out with it for sure.
yeah,
Now it's time for our best and most favorite segment of the show, the Black Spotlight. I'm gonna go ahead and start it off. My Black Spotlight. I'm gonna give a shout out to the MLB finally doing what's right and adding the Negro League stats to MLB records, and it has helped put players like Hall of Famer Josh Gibson and many other black stars in prominent places in the leaderboards. Just looking at it right here, Josh Gibson, the legendary catcher and power hitter who played for the Homestead Grays and Pittsburgh Crawfords, is now MLB's all-time leader in batting average, slugging percentage, and OPS, and holds the all-time single-season records in each of those categories. Gibson is one of more than 2,300 Negro League players, including 3 living players who played in the 1920 to 1948 era, and Bill Greason, Ron Teasley, and Hall of Famer Willie Mays included in a newly integrated database at MLB.com that combines the Negro League numbers with the existing data from American League, National League, and other major leagues from history. So, want to give a big shout out to the MLB for doing what's right, adding these players to the list, and helping these fellas take their proper place in the record books. Major ups to them. Took a lot of guts to do that, and I just want to say thank you to them, and I know the players are happy as well as their families. So, yeah.
yeah. That's a huge deal in my opinion. Just because, I mean, you look at it like players that were elite back in the day. Just not seeing their names in the record books just because based on, I mean, them having to play in a different league like that. That is extremely unfair. And sometimes as a country, we may not get it right the first time. But the good thing is that sometimes we can at least try to reconcile for some of our past wrongdoings. And I think this was a perfect example of that. And I'm so happy for them. And I know their families are just, overjoyed about this. So like that, I love that pick from you for Black Spotlight. And I think, it's just a good thing that we're progressing as a people and connecting things like that. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But for my Black Spotlight, this week I decided to choose Kyrie Irving. In years past we'd heard a lot of negative talk about this, and that, and all his antics maybe off the court or even just in press conferences and in the media and all these different things. But it's funny if you listen to people now, you wouldn't even think they said those things about him because they've said that he's a leader now and he's leading and doing all these different things. And I think it may be a little bit of both. I think maybe people have changed their opinion on him because of his play, and I think also maybe he has done some inner soul searching and said, hey, I'm going to be more of a leader, and and it's all been showing on the court as well. So I think with Kyrie Irving, I think that's a huge thing for him going into the finals and a big reason why his team is even in this position. And so it's great for him to take that leadership role and kind of change some of the narratives or prove some people wrong more than changing narratives. We don't care about narratives, but proving people wrong is one thing that I'm always going to support. So I appreciate that from him.
Yeah, 100%, man. Like I've been a Kyrie Irving fan since the days of him and Brian teaming up in Cleveland, and just to see what he went through after leaving Cleveland and all the stuff, that he went through with the media and COVID, the whole COVID situation and the Boston situation, and for him to finally get to Dallas and be in a good place in his life, and he could kind of like understand what went wrong during those times and own up to it and kind of like say I'm gonna be better because of that and become a better person because of it. I have nothing but the utmost respect for him, and it makes me appreciate him more as a basketball player, just knowing what he went through to be able to be happy on the basketball court again. And game's a better place when the game is in a better place when Kyrie Irving is, putting on his skills, and putting on a show on the basketball court. And thank y'all for watching. Uh, and until next time, y'all know where to keep it locked, man. The best sports podcast in the world. Welcome to the world of sports.
Yes, sir.